Good morning, everyone. My name's Will. I'm from Ku-ring-gai Council. Welcome this morning to our, I think it's the fifth Back to Business, Open for Business webinar run by Ku-ring-gai Council. And today we're talking about monetizing your pivot, which basically means how to refocus your business to continue to survive and thrive in these challenging times. Now, speaking this morning is Marie Kirkpatrick. Now, Marie is a specialist in sales and business growth. She's an excellent speaker. She'll be sharing a lot of really useful information this morning, and this will include a lot of questions you need to ask yourself about how you're running your business, how you can reach your customers, and also assessing what your customers' needs are. So I'll leave you with Marie. Just remember, you're in your own home, so if you need to go to the loo, we won't know. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you like using the Q&A functionality at the bottom of the screen. Also, you can chat with other members of the group today and also us panelists. So please fire away on the questions. Nothing is too big or too small or too silly. Just ask it, and we'll be able to answer it as we go through. Anything which we don't address during the session, Marie can ask at the end. Now, the session this morning, we have 2 hours. I think we'll probably be slightly less than that, but we will go until no one has any more questions to ask. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of this morning, and yeah, I'll pass you over to Marie. Marie, over to you.
Thanks, Will. And welcome everyone. Today, obviously, you've signed up, you know what you're in for. We're talking about monetizing your pivot. But first of all, I want to say thank you so much to Ku-ring-gai Council. I think it's really amazing to be part of a community who really supports small businesses. And Ku-ring-gai Council putting on things like this, it's not something that they need to do. It's something that they do to support their local community. And yeah, we're really grateful. So thanks, Will, for having us. What I want to do before we really kick into things is I want you to take a moment to really check in with where you're at and how you're feeling and kind of where your mindset is at the moment. Because it's really easy with everything that's going on with the whole pandemic and the bat eating situation and whatever else is going on to get really stuck with getting caught in the negative. And so we just need to be really careful as to what we're focusing on. So if we, first of all, look at, like, we currently are living in a country that has handled, I believe, this pandemic quite well. We know that there's people that are struggling both from a business perspective as well as mentally, and kids and homeschooling and all that sort of stuff. But I just want you to know that there's probably worse places we could be living at the moment. So just take a second to just chill. Let's see what we can do today to turn either your business around or to increase your sales or whatever we need to do to kind of get you in a better place than where you were before we've had this kind of conversation and masterclass today. Also, you've already had the courage to start your business, and I know that because you've signed up to this masterclass that you're obviously willing to do something different and you've got the courage to, you know, fix things and move it forward. So have an open mind. I also want you to understand that today is an opportunity to pick my brain. I'm more than happy to answer any questions in regards to business, sales, marketing. That's my specialty. It's what lights me up. I know I'm a weirdo with stuff like that, but I want you guys to get the most out of it. So pop any questions you've got in the chat box. I'll answer them if they relate to what we're going through at the time. If not, we'll have some time at the end of it. So today we're going to dive in deep. We want to see what is happening in your business and how we can get it to thrive. But I just want you to turn all your phones off, close all the tabs down on your computer, no Facebook, no nothing. We're here, we want to dig in. So let's get into it. Tell me about you. So what I want you to do is pop in the chat box a little bit about you. For me, as we're going through this sort of stuff, I need to understand your business. I want to understand where you're at. How long have you been in business? Where was your business before the whole bat situation kind of kicked in? And I want this to be an interactive workshop. I want you to get the most out of it. So pop it in the chat box. Tell me where you're at. Tell me any challenges that you're having. You know, have you had to completely close your business down? Have you lost sales? Have you, like, tell me what's going on for you. I know for me, the first 2 weeks of COVID were really intense. It was like, okay, a whole heap of my VIP clients had to close down because a lot of them are face-to-face. Husband's business had to close down because he's in the health and wellbeing space. He does like physio, massage, rehab stuff, but his clinic's in a gym. So as soon as gyms closed down, it was all over for him in that space. And so it took me a little while to kind of get back on my feet and be like, okay, where are we going? What are we doing? What's going on in the world? How do we financially sort ourselves out? How do we, work with the children's situation and all that sort of stuff? So I understand that there's probably a lot happening for you. And I understand that you've obviously come onto this masterclass to get some answers or some ideas and things like that. Okay, so I'm in a pizza business, been doing it for the last 10 years. Perfect. So what sort of challenges are you having at the moment? What's happening for you? An accounting business, turnover reduced due to meetings being cancelled, looking for lead generation. Perfect, and increasing sales. You're in the right place and you're talking to the right crazy sales chick. So you're in safe hands, I promise you. We've got a nutritionist. Awesome. So this is great. So I can use some suggestions and things like that as we go along. I'm just about to start first clinic. Awesome. So I'm just starting out in a recession. That's okay. Perfect time to start out. Did you know that some of the most successful businesses were started when everyone else thought that everything was crumbling, the global financial crisis and all that sort of stuff? Uber came out of that situation. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love to have shares in Uber or be one of the business owners of Uber and things like that. So it's totally okay to be exactly where you're at. We've got printing business with business down 75%. Yep. Working on ideas to pivot. Perfect. Pivot from private practice, nutritional medicine practitioner. Awesome. Good job, guys. Dramatic fall in revenue. Clients saying come back in 3 months. Perfect. I've had clients like that as well, that they've said, Maria, I just need to pause my VIP services. And once we've actually talked it through, a lot of that pausing has come from fear, and they're worried that cash flow, or how are they going to survive? How long is this thing going to go on for? And I think that's where a lot of that fear comes from. So don't stress. It's all good. Doing all right. Perfect. But love to increase the sales. Yeah. Sports nutrition. We lost all our sporting events. Yes. I am part of that sporting community. So I'm a little bit sad that sport's not happening at the moment. Virtual administration service, fantastic. Lawyer, perfect. Yep. Real estate industry, fantastic. Good job, guys. Great. We've got some great businesses out there, which is fantastic. Congratulations on even taking that leap. I don't know what it's like for you guys when you started your business, but for me, it was really freaking scary. And it took me probably 6 years from idea to implementation and to actually kind of take that big leap and say, okay, I'm going to do this. So when things like this happen, it kind of, I know for me, it was like, would it be better working for someone else at the moment? Or is it a great thing that I'm actually working for myself? And my dad, who's an accountant, who's really like, everything's safe, play everything safe, go and get a real job, go and work for someone else that'll pay all the taxes and your super and all that sort of fun stuff. He actually said to me, I think you're probably better off in running your own business during the pandemic because you have the opportunity to change what you're doing. And I totally agree. We all have an opportunity to find other ways to make money in our business. And so that's what I want to focus on today. How do we actually get through this crazy time, either better off or at the same level as what we are? If we have had to close, there's still things we can do. So let's get into it. So life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. And this situation and event that we're going through at the moment is one of those times where things may feel really stormy. However, I know for me and for some of my clients, we've had some amazing successes during COVID. I've actually had the time to just stop, chill out and be mopey for 2 weeks. Like, that was the reality for me. I had that feeling of I just want to run away and watch Netflix and hide under a blanket on the couch. But once I actually took that time to kind of be like, okay, cool, like everything stopped. A lot of my clients weren't relying on me to, you know, offer that support and all that sort of stuff. So I actually had the time to just chill. And once I took that time to chill, it was like, okay, what do I really want this business to look like? What are all the things that I've been wanted to do, but haven't done for time restrictions, or didn't have enough mental space, or there were too many things going on? Like, what are those things? And once I actually sat down and got really clear on them, it became really easy to know what my next steps are. So let me tell you a little bit about myself before we actually dig into it, because I'm sure for those of you who don't know me, you know, who is this crazy full-on sales girl that's on the other end of the screen? So as Will said, my name is Marie Kirkpatrick. I am a sales and business specialist. What does that actually mean? It means I actually go into businesses and figure out how to make them more money, more effective, more efficient, how to save them time, and for business owners to actually really enjoy their business. And a lot of the time, one of the biggest stresses in business comes from income. So it's a skill that I've been trained in for many, many, many years. However, I believe, and you know, other people may think differently, but I believe that I was taught to sell in a really old school kind of pushy way. And as my sales career went on, I got to that stage where I was just looking at the dollar value. I was just looking at commissions. I was just looking at money. Bosses were just like whipping me harder. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? Hit the target, hit bottom lines, whatever all that was. And it got to the stage where I didn't want to sell anymore. And I never wanted to feel like that again. And I thought the best way to deal with that was to step away from sales. And so as that kind of transition started to happen, what I realized was that sales and communication and negotiation for me are a really, really good skill set that I've got. What I hated was the fact that I had to do it other people's way. It was like, this is the formula, do it this way and you'll end up with this result. And it just wasn't feeling good for me. And so I'm about teaching business owners how to take the foundations and principles around selling and how to make it a really connected, great conversation, like you're chatting to a friend. Because for me, a lot of my clients end up as really good friends. I don't want to work with people that I wouldn't sit down and have a coffee or a wine with. And so for me, sales is the lifeline of a business, but it also doesn't have to be the most awkward, uncomfortable, hard part of your business. Once we understand the concepts of sales and have our sales framework in place, everything else just flows, and we can focus on 90% of the time the reason as to why we started our business. And for most people, it wasn't to grow up and be this amazing salesperson. I didn't even grow up and say I want to be a salesperson. And so it's about how do we need to meet the needs of both the business and your lifestyle and cash flow, but how do we do it in a way that we actually enjoy doing? So it's not just about what do I need to do to get more cash in? How do I get really great clients that I want to pick up the phone to, that I want to work with, that want to come back, that create raving fans, that do a whole heap of the marketing for me? And the other thing is that I know a couple of people have mentioned in the chat box that they are looking for more lead generation sales strategies, which is perfect. But I want you to also, I just want to kind of plant this little seed in your mind before we really dig into the content of today, that is it really about the leads, or is it about the process that we're taking our leads through for them to end up being a sale? So just kind of think that through. Do you actually need more leads, or do you really need more sales? And if it is sales, how do we kind of work with the leads that we may currently have, or how do we find leads that we really want to nurture and work really closely with? All right, so let's gain some clarity on what we'll be looking at today. So we're going to look at your target market and the real reason customers buy from you. Not from everyone else, but from you and your business. There's obviously a reason that someone has bought from you, whether it's price, whether it's convenience, whether it's experience, whether they liked you, whether you had a nice car, whether you had the only product that they wanted, whatever that looks like. We need to get really clear on why people are buying from you and who is your target market. Now, I don't know about you, I've done a lot of business courses in my life, I've done a lot of study, I'm a continuous learner. You know, even yesterday I was sitting down having my lunch during my 20-minute break that I had yesterday. And so I popped on a module in one of the business courses that I'm currently going through just to keep my knowledge up and my brain fresh. And it kind of got into this, everyone talks about your target market and your ideal client, but there's not many people that understand how to nail it and how to really dig in deep so that you know who you're servicing and what that person really needs from you. We then want to look at what is your target market's challenges and needs now, like today, the 13th of May, not before bat season or bat crisis or whatever else is going on. We want to know what's happening for them now. Because if your business needs to pivot, people still have needs. You can still sell in this climate. You can still make money. You can still thrive. There's all of that happening. We just need to assess what are people's challenges at this point in time. We also are going to look at how we stay connected to your clients, even if you do have to pivot. So if your business is pivoting, that is okay. If your business is pivoting and your client or your target market is changing, that's okay as well. What we don't want to do is completely pivot. And if we decide to go back to our previous target market once everything settles down a bit, we don't want to neglect those clients, because there will be businesses that will be nurturing those people while you're focusing on someone else. So we need to kind of decide on what that looks like for you in your business. We also are going to look at why people really buy and how we can sell during this pandemic. I will give you some tips and strategies and things like that in regards to the sales process. However, each sales process will obviously be different for each business and each industry and things like that. However, the principles are still the same, the foundations are still the same. It's like I say to one of my clients is a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I know we've got a lawyer on the line. I'm not a lawyer. I don't need to know everything there is to know about being a lawyer to know how to sell legal services. And it's going to be the same for everyone. I know how to sell. I know how to sell other people's stuff. I know how to sell my stuff. I know all of that. What I need you to do is look at the principles and adjust it to your business specifically. And then how do we stay focused on customers and continue to meet their needs? So when businesses return, we're ready to grow rather than having to rebuild. There are a lot of businesses that, as I said, will have to completely shut down. And I feel like if you do have to completely shut down from a client-facing perspective, that doesn't mean that your business completely stops in the back end. There's plenty of things we can do to kind of keep the wheels turning, tidy things up, and so that when we do reopen and the government says it's playtime, then we can actually launch forward in that process. Yes, there's also the blending. Perfect. So someone just popped in the chat box, the blending with homeschooling and all the other stuff that's happening at the moment. I get it. I absolutely understand what's happening for you. I am a mum. I've got a 5.5, 6-year-old. So he is in kindy. And so I think he had a couple of weeks before everything kind of closed down. And it was kind of this juggle between making sure that he's still functioning and all his needs are being met, as well as I've still got business and clients and things like that happening. What I forgot to mention to you also is that I run 2 businesses and I've got a 3rd one that is in launch at the moment. And when I say is in launch, it has been paused due to the pandemic and everything going on. However, that doesn't mean that I'm not working on that business in the back end. So I understand that there's lots happening and I've probably been in similar situations to maybe where some of you are feeling at the moment. So let's dig in. Grab a pen and paper. I want you to answer some questions. I want you to write down where you feel like or who you feel like is your target market at the moment. Who is your ideal client? If you've had clients in the past, is there someone that you can pinpoint and say, Sally is my perfect client. I want more Sallys. Pop it in the chat box. Let's see the range of people that we help, what sort of problems that we're solving and things like that. So think about it, pop it in there. Let's get a bit of clarity around who your target market is. What we'll do after that is I'll actually ask you some questions that'll help you dig in a little bit deeper to who your target market is. I've had clients that have spent thousands and thousands of dollars doing courses, working with coaches, doing all that sort of stuff. And one of the first questions I ask when I talk to people is, who are you serving? Like, who's your ideal client? And they go, female business owners. So Michelle's got in here, small business owners and sole traders. We need to dig in a little bit deeper than that, Michelle. We don't want to cast our net out to everyone and hope that somewhere down the track we catch a fish. What we want to do is we want to get really clear on it, and then we want to, anyone that comes in out of that scope is just a little golden nugget. We don't just change our scope because of someone else that's come in. Me, for example, I love dealing with females. Not that I don't work with men, I absolutely do work with men. I love dealing with females because we understand that there's a whole different mental juggle a lot of the time for us. And so it's women in business, it's women who want to make more money, who want to grow their business, who want to make it easier. So they're the sort of women that I deal with. So who else have we got? Small business owners, accountants, auditors, perfect. So what makes these people so specific? If you are dealing with a specific industry, is there someone in that industry that we want to target? Is it the main business owner? Is it the marketer? Is it the CEO? Like, who is that specific person? New retailer in all sports. Okay, cool. So Rebecca, we want to kind of dig that down deeper a little bit more if we can. So in what sort of sports? Is it outdoor sports, indoor sports, ball sports? Like, what does that look like? Oh, awesome. Liz has a name. Perfect. Well, Liz obviously has a name, but I'm assuming Liz has also named her ideal client, which is Stephanie. She values my work. Okay, so that's a whole nother ball game, but we can look into that. Open to new ideas. Lets me be creative as long as my work brings her qualified leads. She's happy. Perfect. We work together as a team. Awesome. Small businesses that care about holistic health and well-being. Fantastic. Because of COVID, strata facilities and residential customers, cool, but ideal, large telco and internet corporations. Cool. So Michael, my apologies. So if we're looking at your ideal target market, like your large telcos, who are we targeting in there? Because large telcos, like if we're looking at, Optus or Telstra or whoever they are, Telstra's just a name. We're still dealing with a person behind that name. And that person behind that big telco company is a human. They're going to have different needs. They're going to have different wants. They're going to have different desires. They're going to have different questions. So we really want to dig in deeper to this. Perfect. All right. So here's a set of questions that I want you to think about. And I'm assuming, well, first of all, Will said that we're recording this, so that's good. But second of all, I will give Will the notes, if he's happy to email them out to you so you can go through these questions again. This nailing of your target market should be one of the first things that you focus on, whether you pivot or whether you start a business or whether you're in business and you want to increase your sales or increase your leads or anything like that. It's something that I get. Yep, Will's just said that he'll email it out. Perfect. Thanks, Will. So it's something that once you nail it, you know exactly who you're talking to. So here's a set of questions we want to look at. And I say she because my target market or my ideal client, I call her Sally. I don't know why it was Sally. It's just always been Sally. And so I've just kind of stuck with it. But I want you to find out, what does she really want? Like, not she wants more money. What does she really want? What does she want to feel? What does she think that she needs help with? So let me give you an example from my business perspective. When I talk to people, they think that they need help with being more visible. They think that they need more help with consistency. They think that they need more help with marketing, which is fine, right? That's what they think that they need. However, maybe what she actually needs or he needs is different. But unless we address what they think that they need, they're not going to engage with you, okay? So what is her biggest challenge that you solve? Not what challenge do you solve, what is her challenge? And if you deal with guys, just change the she to he or they or whatever that is. But what is her biggest challenge that you solve? Don't create a product or a service or a business unless you know what is the problem that you solve. A lot of the time, people will create a package or an offer or a product, and then they go around trying to find someone to sell it to. How about we look at it differently? How about we look at the people that we want to be working with, and they'll have different traits and things like that. For me, I want to be able to work with people that I feel like I'm going to want to hang out with. So if my phone rings, I know that that's Sally and I want to chat to Sally. I want to chat to Sally not just about business stuff. I want to chat to Sally about a weekend or whatever else is going on with her. It's someone that I'm interested in. So I want to be able to, same questions for business to business? Yes, absolutely. Great question. So if it is someone, if it's business to business, we want to know who we're dealing with in that business and what is their problem to solve. So for example, if we deal with someone that is higher up in the chain, it may be the problem that they need solved may be based around finances, or maybe it may be based around staffing challenges or efficiency or effectiveness or whatever that is. We want to know what that person in that overall business is. The business will have different needs, but the person that we're actually selling to and serving to, and the person that's actually going to make that decision to hand over the cash to you, whether that's the business cash or their cash or whoever's cash, hopefully like they know whose cash they're handing over, but we want to know what they need solved. What are their challenges that's going on? Does he or she or the business know that they need us? If they don't know that they need us, what do they think that they need? And how can we re-educate them to show them that what they think that they need may be a little bit different? Retailers want nutrition that brings customers in. They want the hard sale done before the customer walks into the door. Do retailers want nutrition that brings customers? Like what if that retailer could get a product that brings a customer in but doesn't make them any money? And how much money do they feel like that they need? And do they need marketing support behind it? Do they want the education that comes, with the nutrition side of it? I've worked in the health and fitness space for many, many, many years in my past, and we've done, I've worked with training organizations, I've worked with vitamins and supplements and nutrition space as well. There's certain questions that we can really fine tune and break down as to what their real needs are. We need to kind of take it from this into this, because that's what we focus on when we're looking at our marketing and our lead generation strategies and how we nurture and love and connect with our potential clients. So what are her or his or the biggest fears that they're feeling like at the moment? I know for me, a lot of my clients are freaking out, thinking that their business is going to close down, and what they've worked hard for over 10 or 15 years or 5 years or even 12 months or 6 months, or what they've been thinking about for 6 years and they've just decided to open now, is that they're worried that it's not going to work, or that people aren't buying, or that, what are people going to think if this doesn't happen? So I want to understand, or I want you to understand, in your ideal target client, your target market, what does Sally, and I'm going to use Sally for everyone, right? Like just pretend that yours is Sally as well. If it's not Sally, make up a name. And a name allows you to really connect with that person. So what are their biggest fears? What are they struggling with? What do they want? What does it look like for them? What do they do every day? What does their everyday activities look like? If they're a small business owner, are they getting up in the morning and going for runs at 5 a.m.? Are they the business owner that's got to get kids out the door and off to school and lunches made and all that sort of stuff before she sits down and even has a chance to think about what's happening in her business? That is going to change the way that we market to her. That is going to change the way that we look at how we sell to her. If we don't know that she wants to start her day at 5 a.m. for a run because she knows that that's what makes her feel good and gives her that space before she starts her day, then we're not going to be able to really service her and connect with her in the way that she needs, which means that she's going to be a little bit harder to sell to. So where does she hang out? A lot of people feel like everyone hangs out on Facebook. There are a lot of people on Facebook, don't get me wrong. However, we want to know where they're hanging out and where they're looking for the information to solve their problem. Are they looking for the solution in Google? Do they go and talk to their friends about, you know, looking for the best nutrition brand to use, or the newest weight loss phase, or the best exercises to do? Or are you looking, is she going to other business owners and business forums, or is she going to workshops like this? Is she networking? Like, what does that look like? Where is she hanging out? Where is she getting that information? We also want to look at what they have tried in the past to fix their challenge. Now, all these questions may not be relevant for your specific ideal market. Like, I know we've got someone that does pizzas and things like that. What if she tried to fix what if she tried in the past to fix maybe the hunger or the pizza? Maybe she's tried other pizza stores. Maybe she's tried to make her own home pizzas. Like, what does that look like? It may not be as specific per question to your industry, but have a think about how we can adjust these questions to nail down our ideal client. Does she know what she needs? So there may be a big problem that she's facing and she feels like she needs help in sales. Does she know that she needs to learn how to sell? Or does she feel like she just needs a process that someone can map out? Or does she feel like she just wants to bring someone into her business that can sell for her, and then she just does the reason why she set up her business? Maybe that's servicing clients, or, you know, doing the back end admin, accounting type stuff for her, like whatever that looks like for her. But does she know that she really, really needs your product or service to fix that problem? How does she like to receive her information? This is a big one. I spoke to one of my beautiful brand new VIP clients the other day, and I said, what sort of assets have you got in your business? And she was like, well, you know, I'm online, so I don't really have any assets. And I was like, well, you kind of do. You should if you don't. And one of her assets is documents or tools or techniques or frameworks that she uses in her business. But when we dug in and asked the questions about her ideal client, she had, you know, documents like ebooks and what else did she have? She had blogs and all that sort of stuff. However, her ideal client didn't have time to sit down and read ebooks, or it wasn't something that she was interested in. And so we need to make sure that we're delivering that information in the way that she needs to receive it. Like, for some people, perfect example, I want to take on someone to help me with my content in my business, right? I don't really like writing content. I'm a talker, if you haven't noticed. I love a good chat. But I also know that there needs to be some form of content onto my website for SEO and all that sort of fun stuff. And it's something that I've never really focused on in my business because I've built my business around a different model with referrals and word of mouth and all that sort of stuff. So getting onto that online and generating leads in that space wasn't something that I needed to focus on. However, I spoke to a fair few companies and small businesses all the way through to agencies about helping me create content. And so many of them said to me, if you just write down a few different points about what you want to talk about or what you want the content about, then what we'll do is we'll go off and do some research and, you know, fill it all in, and then you can check it and, you know, cross it off or do make any changes that you need. All sounds great. However, what they were missing was they didn't really understand me as their ideal client. I don't want to sit down and put down some dot points about what I want content to be created around. If I was going to do that, I might as well sit down and write the friggin' blog myself, right? Like, it's the same amount of mental energy for me. So what they needed to understand is, how do I need that information to be delivered to me? How do I need to be served? How do I need to be, the last question I've got on there is, how does she need her hand held? What does she, is she the sort of person that feels like she wants a whole heap of support? Is she the sort of person that's like, just shut up and tell me what I need to do and leave me to it? I'm that sort of person. If you're running online courses or you deliver online content or anything like that, there are people that are going to want to be drip fed each module, right? Then there's going to be a other side of the coin, let's say, that want everything in one go. Give it to me, let me assign the time. I know that I need 2.5 hours to get through all this course and kind of figure it all out. Let me learn, and then if I need any help, I'll reach out. That's the sort of person I am. I don't need to sit there and learn everything and talk about all the fluffiness. I don't have time. I've got other stuff going on. But if we don't investigate our ideal client and what they need, we're not going to know that. And people are going to have resistance from buying from you. Does this make sense? Michael says, love it. That in a nutshell is me and my current situation. So does that mean, Michael, that maybe you're delivering your services or your products or your content maybe not the most effective way for your client? Is that what that looks like for you? Perfect. Great realization. And we're only up to slide 7, so we've still got a little bit of way to go. I'm glad that you've had a light bulb moment. Every time you put out content, every time you create a product or a service, look at Sally. If you need to go back, that's the other thing. Let me just pause for a second. This information needs to be in a document. It needs to be out of your head and into some pretty format so that if your team, if your business decides to build and you want a team, if you feel like something gets lost along the way or you get busy being busy, you need to be able to have somewhere that you can come back and be like, oh, that's right, Sally doesn't want ebooks. She wants me to do a quick 5-minute video on how to solve problem X. Document it somewhere. It also means that every time you bring someone into your business, every time you look to get a service provided for your business, for example, if we go with a content creation idea, you can hand over a document that says, this is my ideal client. Her name is Sally. She likes to get up at 5 a.m. and go for a run. I'm not Sally. I don't get up at 5 o'clock to go for a run. I'm still sleepy at 5 o'clock right now, but if you can hand that over to someone, that is the biggest challenge that businesses have. They don't necessarily know exactly who they're serving. And so document it, get it down, get really clear on it. Let's look at, has your ideal client's needs changed since COVID, since that season, since shutdown, since isolation? Have they changed? If they have, what do we need to do to pivot? Your target market, that ideal client, hasn't gone anywhere. They are still out there. They still have challenges. They still have things that they need, things that they want. They have desires and they're probably running away from other things too. I know that online shopping has gone through the roof. There's a lot of people that are emotionally buying because they're bored. Alcohol sales have gone through the roof. They're up like 80%. People are still buying. It's not a cash flow situation. It's how do we look at your targets, your ideal clients, and how their challenges have potentially changed. If they haven't changed, don't change anything. Just keep servicing them and servicing them really freaking well. There's a lot happening out there in the business world. There's new businesses opening, there's businesses closing. And so there's going to be a lot more competition or targeting to your ideal client. Facebook ads have gone through the roof. So when they're scrolling on Facebook and they see something about, let's stick with the content creation, for example, is there someone that is serving that client better and understands their needs so that they're nailing their messaging and nailing their marketing so that they go, oh, I won't think about that person over here because this person seems to really understand me, where this person's kind of fallen off the face of the earth because of COVID. You know, like, how do we change that? What do we need to do? It's not about that we need to just shut everything down and game over. We're not pressing pause here. We're pressing accelerate. Whether we press accelerate in a out there type place, away, or whether we need to press accelerate on the back end. If we can't serve our clients, face to face, or if they're not purchasing our services at the moment, how can I keep in contact with them? How can I keep serving them? How can I talk about whatever's going on for them? But you need to do it in a really freaking authentic way, right? I don't know about you, my inbox has, it's unbelievable at the moment. And it was worse probably 2 to 3 weeks ago, because so many businesses are like, we're here for you. I know what you're going through. The pandemic is the worst thing in the whole entire world. We're all in the same boat together. Are we really all in the same boat? No, we're not. Your business is going to be a different stage to my business. My life is going to be different to your life. My needs and challenges are going to be different to your needs and challenges. We're not all in the same boat. And I don't want there to be this, oh, I've got to be out there for a reason. It took me a little while to get back in contact with my ideal clients. For example, my email list. Perfect example. I didn't know what to say when COVID hit. I'm an empath. I feel all the emotions. I'm that sort of person. If my client has a 70 grand deal done, I'm the one that's running around the house crying my eyes out and screaming at the top of my lungs. Their wins are my wins. However, if someone's sad, or if there's a whole heap of negative and doom and gloom, I feel that. So I just had to kind of sit and be like, what does Sally need right now? And once I understood that, I could sit at my computer and write that email and say, this sucks. However, here are some things that you can do if you are experiencing X, Y, and Z. Here's some things not to do. Don't send out the, we're here for you, if you haven't emailed them since Christmas. Like, Merry Christmas, I'll see you next year. I've had businesses, like, emails come through that I don't even know who they are. And if I don't know who you are and you're coming into my inbox, delete. Lead lost. Or because you haven't nurtured me, you haven't identified what my challenges are and how you can serve me better. So understand, what do they really want, and what sort of challenges are they facing as the situation has potentially changed in the world for them. That is going to be how you pivot your business. Whether you're a fast food store, and Will and I were talking about this when we were talking about this masterclass. We was like, okay, Marie, what about this? And what about this? And we came up with I think it was a Mexican restaurant, Will. And he said, okay, so Mexican restaurant, yes, they can do takeaway food, which is great. So can everyone. But how can they create an amazing experience for their clients? So yeah, it was a Mexican restaurant. Awesome. So how can they create that experience? Is there a way that they can put together some DIY videos about how to make Mexican at home? Or do they put together some sauces that they can then upsell or cross-sell as someone orders their takeaway dinner? Can they put little Mexican hats in there? Can they send a YouTube video of them dancing to Mexican music? Like, how can we stand out and still create that wow factor for our customers and our ideal clients? And here's a little random side note. If you give someone that experience of wow, they will go and tell maybe 3 to 5 people. If you give them that experience of, I'm in your inbox because I feel like I have to send the email and I'm telling you what we're doing as a business to sort out COVID, they're not interested. You get deleted. Someone like me will potentially go on and do a Facebook Live about how your interaction is not really connected and that it's a really inauthentic way to do business. You don't know me, you don't care about me, I'm just a number, and you've probably got a list of 1,000 people or 50,000 people that you're sending the same generic crappy email to. Don't do it. Figure out a way that you can absolutely wow your customers. The other example Will and I were talking about was I think it was a physio or a massage therapist. I spoke to a lot of people in between talking to Will originally about this. Yes, absolutely. Call them, Rebecca. Beautiful. Reach out. Like, when was the last time you called someone just to check in on them? And I've got a few notes in that as we go along. But really connect with them and tell them that, yeah, this time sucks, and talk to them about homeschooling and the challenges. And I spoke to one of my clients the other day that has had to stop because she's had a whole heap of challenges happen with her. And I just called to check in, like, how are you going? Human to human, mum to mum, business owner to business owner. What does that look like? And I said, homeschooling's really hard. Like, it's kindergarten work, which I'm more than capable of completing. However, it's how do I train myself to then become change my hat, become a teacher type space. And so she was like, wow, I thought I was the only one struggling with homeschooling. And then as it's kind of come out, everyone's like, yeah, homeschooling sucks. It's really freaking hard. Pay teachers more. But if I hadn't connected with her, she may be feeling a little bit alone. She may be feeling a little bit lost, overwhelmed. Everything's hard. Everyone else, like, she's seeing their show reels on Facebook, like, everything's amazing. I'm having wines at 3 o'clock. I'm in my pajamas when I work. Like, whatever that looks like, she wants to feel connected. So understand what her needs are and meet them. That's sales in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen. That sounds very salesy, even as I've said that. But it's literally just a conversation and understanding about where someone's at and what solution they need solved for them. Goodness me, I talk a lot. All right, so we want to look at focusing on what you can control and you can improve right now. You have 2 options when it comes to this whole pandemic side of life. You can be that person that sits down on the couch, eats chips, drinks wine, and watches Netflix, and then says to the government, you should be paying me more money, or you should be lowering my taxes, or my rent's too high, or I can't pay my rent, or whatever else is going on for you. Or we can change up our mindset and look at what can we actually control and improve. It can be really wearing on your mind and on your energy space to be continuously caught up in the negative side of everything that's going on. I say to all my clients, turn off the freaking news. There's not a lot of positivity happening in the news. Even if I watch a TV show and the ads has the same news that people sit down and spend an hour watching at 6 o'clock or whatever time that is, turn it off. Find one source of good information that gives you everything that's going on without all the emotional crap that comes with it. Unfollow social media accounts that aren't lighting you up. If they're on the drain train, get off. Get rid of them. See you later. One of my beautiful clients, when we first started working together, I said to her, what is your big goal? Like, if you had all the money in the world and your business was running the way that it wanted to be, what do you want to be doing? And she said, I want to be able to create a place and a kind of like a hub for women to go to get all the information that they need, whether it be legal, whether it be financial, whether it be relationship stuff, whether it be business stuff. And that's what she wants. So whether they have money or not, she wants to be able to serve women in a bigger way. She has then gone on with this whole thing, pandemic stuff going on, then gone and set up an amazing Facebook group. And she's a lawyer, so she's talking about all the legal stuff that happens with businesses, JobKeeper, Job Seeker. She's brought in financial people, accountants, all that sort of stuff, and created this beautiful network of people that deliver the facts. It's not, oh, this sucks. It's like, here are the facts. Here's what you need to do. If you're in this situation, I recommend this. She's taken it as a really positive experience. And so if you feel like you still want to be able to get the information about what's going on with COVID and, the political side of it and, what the government's doing with JobKeeper and Job Seeker and all that sort of stuff, find someone that will give you that information without all the rubbish. Unfollow social media. Even if that's people, block them for 30 days. If it's groups, get out, unlike pages, whatever you need to do to keep your mindset strong and to be able to focus on what you can control now. Let's look at areas that you can improve. See what you can learn or what you can develop or what you can kind of create if things are quieter for you. Let me be honest. I made a bit of a mistake at the start of COVID once I came out of my little slum, and I saw a whole heap of small businesses feeling like that business was kind of over for them. My immediate reaction was, what can I do to help them? Because I know from a financial perspective, hubby and I have lots of different income streams, and we've kind of set ourselves up financially so that we're pretty good for probably a year if things complete, like if everything shut down, if, you know, he lost his business and I lost the businesses and whatever else was going on financially, we would be okay for about 12 months. And so what I realized was watching these small business owners struggle was really heartbreaking for me. It was like, oh, how do I help them? Because I know the biggest issue that they're having is sales. Whether it's pandemic time, whether it's not pandemic time, whether it's, you know, global financial crisis, or whether it's, you know, business as usual, it all comes down to sales. If you're not selling, if there's no cash flow, business becomes really freaking hard. So what I sillily did, which is totally a word, and if it's not, it is now, what I did was I created a product, a course that I thought that they needed. What I didn't do was I didn't go and do my ideal client research question, you know, breakdown. And I didn't ask myself those questions that we went through. And so when I went to put this offer out, it was kind of like crickets. Like, I think that they need help with sales. They think that they need more leads. Two completely different marketing techniques, right? Very different messaging and all that sort of stuff, and the way that we reach out to people. If I keep saying you need help with sales and you're thinking, no, I just need leads, like once I get someone on the call, I can convert, that's still sales, but she doesn't see it like that. So I needed to kind of reframe things. So what I should have done was gone back and kind of investigated that a little bit clearer. But instead of thinking, how can I go out and find more VIP clients that I can help, it was like, how can I find someone that has a problem and how can I help them with it? So if you feel like things are quieter, let's look at what you can do. If you need to close down, or if you feel like you need to reduce your expenses, find ways that you can lean up. See how you can make your business more cost effective. Check out your subscriptions. Is there a cheaper option? Is there deals going on? A lot of companies have reduced their prices, which I don't really agree with, you know, I don't believe in just dropping your pants for the sake of it because you feel like people don't have money. And so find ways that you can potentially save money, because business is about profit. It's not just about sales, it's about profit. I know businesses that are turning over $5, $6, $7 million. And when I've walked into them and said, cool, let me have a look at where you're at. What's your profit margins? Where are you sitting? They're at like 2 or 3% profit, which is fine. Like, they're still in profit, but how do we get it up to the 10, 15% profit? What do we need to do to change things up? How do we lower our costs? How do we make more, how do we make things a little bit more effective? Streamline things, maybe, you know, perfect example, Twitter has now put out there that everyone that works for Twitter can now work from home. Imagine, just like think about it from a really like big picture place, and think about how much money they're potentially saving on rent, electricity, and any of that kind of structural stuff, or the house that they need to put their team into to make their business thrive. I think that's going to save them a fair bit of cash. It's going to make them have happier staff because maybe they're not commuting. It'll also make their business a lot more effective because it'll kind of show up the people that can't work from home and that just literally want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix and chill, right? So their business will become a lot more effective. It'll weed out everything that's not working. And it'll allow them to set up those processes and structures so that their business is on point as to where it needs to go. So look at ways that you can lean up. Maybe there's ways you can automate things. If you're sending the same email and you're onboarding of a client, figure out a way to send it, like to set it up as a template. So all we're doing is changing name, maybe adding a little bit of love at the top, a little bit of love at the bottom, you know, a bit of specificity for that client, but have all the documents and any contracts or anything like that already done. If you are sending out things like invoices and they're recurring invoices, set up their recurring invoices. Do whatever it takes to make sure that your business is a lot more effective. You'll find ways to save money. Plus, you can also lean up from a mental space perspective. Now, anything for me that takes the mental load off, I'm a happy little teddy bear. So find ways to make it more efficient. Then have a look at what you can tidy up. Now, there may be one or two, I don't know, people on here that may have Google Drives that aren't organized, or Dropboxes that aren't organized, or if they need to send their logo to someone, maybe they've got to click through 5 or 6 different folders and, oh, it's not in that one, that's not the updated one, where's the one that the graphic designer sent through me over here? Perfect, Rebecca, not anymore. Sort all that sort of stuff out. And from and this may be a little bit outside the box, but you know, whatever, that's who I am. Have a look at maybe from a woo-woo energy perspective. If your business isn't tidy and sorted, what sort of business are we really running? Like, are we kind of just on this winging it path? Or have we got it all systemized and really flowy and everything's working? And when a client comes in, we know that this is the step-by-step framework that they go through. For me, once I've done a VIP client, I do call notes, I do to-do lists for the client that they need to go on action. It's all in one document. It's already templated. I just need to fill in my thoughts. Takes me 10 minutes. It then gets uploaded. I know exactly where it needs to go. My team will then upload recordings and all that sort of stuff. I don't need to do that as a business owner. My skill set is definitely not in technology, and it's definitely not sitting there waiting for a YouTube little line to, you know, finish to be uploaded for my client. However, I know that that's really important for me to have my business up and running effectively. So for me, if I can outsource that because it allows me to focus more time on my clients or finding new clients or developing, you know, different products or services to make more money in the business or in that process, then that's what we need to do. So if you're doing things maybe that aren't in your zone of genius, then maybe find alternatives that you can outsource. There's plenty of systems and software out there these days that will allow you to potentially replace the cost of staff members, for example. Or, you know, for me, I use a piece of software called Dubsado, which is like a CRM, and it automatically populates my welcome documents. So it knows it needs some paperwork, it knows it needs an invoice, it knows that we put together an action plan, and it's all attached to one email. I don't need to go through and find all the itty bitty bits. It's not effective for me. So find ways to tidy up digitally, documents, content, systems, folders, files, all of it. Physically, like throw stuff out. If you don't need it, if you've kept, you know, that piece of paper that you'll get back to in 12 months and you haven't looked at it in 12 months, get rid of it. Clean up, sort things out, because once you clean up mentally, things will be easier for you. And it will allow you to deal with things like pivoting, changes, anything else that comes along for you. The last thing that I want to kind of you to focus on is look at your processes. If you're creating consistent content, what is the process that you use for that? Are you the person that jumps on once a month and schedules a whole heap of stuff to your Facebook? Are you the sort of person that does content blocking, you know, like they will put a file together that'll have, you know, a month or 2 months or whatever, and then they hand it over to a VA to kind of put it all around the big wide world, the big wide web or whatever. What does that look like for you? Do you have a sales process? Now, obviously, this is something I'm really friggin' passionate about from a sales perspective, but it also means that your issue won't be finding more leads. I spoke to a lady the other day. She said she needs help with leads. Once we kind of had a little bit more of a chat, she has a database of 900 people that she hasn't connected with. But she needs more leads. She doesn't really need more leads. She needs a sales process. She needs to understand that if someone comments on your Facebook page or a post that you put out or a blog or someone has reached out to you, what are those steps that that person goes through so that they don't just end up in a 900 long email list? How do we keep nurturing those people and getting them to take steps closer to working one-on-one with us or coming into our business as a paid client. Like, what does that look like? Make sure you nail your sales process. And I think the other thing that, and Will and I had a really great conversation, I was a little bit ranty about it as well, is that COVID has probably brought up a lot of things in people's businesses and lives in general that has shone a light on what isn't working for them. People feel like that all of a sudden COVID's happened and they've made no sales. Or they feel like there's no cash coming in, therefore business is finished. What sort of systems and processes do you need to put together to make sure that your business can survive for the next 3 months if COVID keeps going? Do you need to have profit accounts? Do you need to have buffers? Like, what does that look like? Thanks for coming, Michael. All good. Perfect. Good to know you've got a client meeting. Go, service, have fun. So look at those areas about what you can improve, what you need to do. If you went from a business that was going quite well, but as soon as you stopped making a sale, like a day or two after that cash flow stopped, my question to you is, how efficient or how stable, maybe is a better word, is your business really? And that also goes for life, right? Like, if you stop working for a week, I'm not sure that all of a sudden you should be able to have things, buffers, like support around you. Save for the rainy day, as my parents used to call it, or I don't even think it was my parents, I think it was my grandparents. And so what do we need to do to make sure your business is stable? The processes is going to be what makes it stable. If you find that you are living paycheck to paycheck within your business, all you have is a job. I said it, don't be mad. We want to create a business that supports you rather than you supporting your business. We don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. We want to make sure that our business has enough for our tax. We want to make sure that our business has enough for our expenses and all that sort of stuff. And that comes down to processes. Every time a sale comes into my business, it's already allocated a percentage of what needs to go where into which different bucket. That's what makes my business be able to stand up if I decide to have a holiday, heaven forbid, when business owners go for holidays, or when the business owner takes time off. What happens to the staff? What happens to the processes? Do things fall down? I had one guy say to me, Marie, my business is going really well. We turn over a few mil. I feel like the profit and all that sort of stuff is sitting there beautifully. However, it's like when I'm not there, my staff don't really know what to do. That comes down to processes. So if you feel like you're a little bit quieter, get out the pen and paper and start jotting things down. And then once you've jotted it down, put it into a process, document it, and then put it into that folder where Sally's profile is hanging out, so that there's one place for all your business documents, your branding, your content, all of that, nice little pretty box. If it's not in the box, do you really need it? If you don't need it, delete it, get rid of it, tie it up, go through, delete all your clear out your emails, unsubscribe from people that you've realized maybe aren't in line with your values and the way that you do business and things like that as well, which has been a huge thing for me, right? I don't want to work with people that feel like it's okay to send out an email saying we're all in the same boat. We're here for you. Sending out an email is not here for you. Give me something I can use. Give me a tool. Give me a technique. Make it sound like you understand what I'm going through. Do you understand that I'm a mum that's homeschooling, running 2 businesses and about to launch a 3rd? If you don't, I don't have time for your I'm here for you email. So figure out a way that you need to be able to connect with those ideal clients. If you do have a long list and you feel like you aren't getting enough leads, go back and look at all the people that have commented on posts. Go back and look at your email list. Go back and have a look at people that you spoke to 3 months ago and you only followed up once or twice and then said, they're not my ideal client because they're not ready to move forward or they're not ready to do the work. That's not their job. Their job is that they reached out to you. Your job is to show them how you can help and encourage them along the way to take that step forward to actually get the changes that they need. Alrighty, so we've been talking about connection, and connection is the biggest key in business. Like, it's just a common sense, which sometimes isn't even that common, but connection is what makes people buy. Stay connected to your clients and your database, even if you have to pivot. If you pivot and your ideal client changes, so we've still got Sally over here, but now maybe we've got a Sandra or a Jane or someone else, connect with both of them, but talk to individual needs. Don't just ignore Sally because I've had to close and Sally can't pay me money, so let me go and find a Sandra that can. Figure out a way that you can still connect with Sally while also potentially nurturing Sandra, I think it was, that's why I only stick to one name, while we nurture Sandra so that as we kind of have to pivot, there may be some cash flow benefits, you know, and some things that we can help Sandra out with that she's willing to pay money for. I want you to realize that showing up real and raw and honest is totally okay in business. I want to put a disclaimer on this. However, don't show up feeling like or showing people that everything is a bit of a shambles if you are trying to sell. Here's a perfect example. As you can see, I have a clear wall behind me, right? This is a little bit controversial, but go with it. I have a clear wall behind me. If you have a look on the other wall of my office, I have Post-it notes and a full framework, a sales framework that I'm specializing for an industry that has stuff all over it. It's a shambles. It's okay to be real and raw and say, yeah, I've got heaps of stuff going on. But when you show up that you're there for the client and the client can focus on you and what you're saying. Take as many distractions out as you possibly can. If you are selling, if you are connecting, that's okay. Show up real, raw and honest. In that email that I sent, I said, yeah, I'm really struggling. I don't know what to say to you right now. This sucks. COVID sucks. If your business is struggling, that sucks. And I'm sorry that you're going through this. Let's find ways that we can do something different. It's not rainbows and unicorns all the time. If one of my clients is having a hard day, it's not right. Well, you've showed up and you're paying me money, and if you reschedule, I'm going to take that money from you. It's about being the way that your client needs to be connected with. Just realize that there's better ways to connect, and there's things that you can take out of the equation that helps people connect with you. If I had the Post-it notes behind me, for example, and I was facing the other way, I can assure you there would be someone like me who loves shiny object type stuff, easily distracted, always on the school reports. Marie would be a much better student if she focused a bit more or whatever they said. Clearly I wasn't even focusing on what they wrote. But you would be trying to read what was going on. You're thinking, what is she doing? Why has she got all those Post-it notes? Are they color coordinated? Where did she buy her Post-it notes? Are they super sticky ones? Like all that sort of stuff can potentially be going through someone's head, and they're probably not going to tell you. I've spoken to people that have bookcases behind them, which is fine. It's not a bookcase situation. It's the fact that everything on the bookcase is a little bit of a shambles. There's stuff going on. There's distractions. I'm looking at, why don't they just like line the books up? Like what's going on there? And subconsciously that gives me an idea that gives me a feeling and a reaction to that person's business. And it may not necessarily be in a positive way. So when you connect with people, show up, and as I said, be raw and real and honest, but be aware of the way that you're showing up as well. Connect with them in the way that people need to be connected with. If you are the sort of person that has been selling from a fee-based mentality, or that's the way that you were taught to sell, first of all, it's not your fault, because that's the way I was taught to sell as well. It's kind of like, if you don't work with me now, you'll never make it. That sort of fear is not working. It very rarely works, and people's fears are already at a pretty high point at the moment from a financial point of view as well. There's a whole heap of uncertainty going on. So don't pitch to them in a way that it's like, well, this is what you need to do, and if you don't do this, business is going to fail. That's not the way that sales needs to be. It needs to be from a connected space. It needs to be from a hand holding. What does that person need? What can I help them? Every single person I speak to, whether you're my ideal client, whether I want to work with you, or whether I make a decision not to, I want to make sure that I can give you at least one step forward. Let me give you a little bit of advice. Let me give you a little tip here that maybe can take you forward. This is why I love doing stuff like this. When Will's like, hey, Marie, do you want to do a workshop? Yeah, because I know that I can potentially teach one person in a room full of 50 or 80 people, that one thing that will take them forward. And if everyone in business thought like that, I think the world would be a very, very different place. Don't be money hungry. Once you start serving people, the money will come through anyway. Find out who your ideal client is and find out how they need to be connected with. And as I said before, understand how your people want and need the information delivered. If we just sidetrack a minute, if you're on a sales call and someone like me is on the other end and you're wanting to sell to someone like me, don't speak to me really slowly, because I've already thought about 500 other different things that I'm trying to work on while you're speaking to me really slowly. And I've disconnected from you. So it doesn't matter whether you're the cheapest person out there, whether you've got the best product or service, you haven't connected with me. So understand how I need that information delivered, how I want that information presented. Don't send me a 50-page document that is full text. No one's got time for that. Well, no one in my brain does, at least. So understand what that needs to be delivered like, and your business needs to be adaptable for the people that may speak a little bit slower. I don't always talk 100 miles an hour, but I feel like I adjust myself depending on who I'm talking to, depending on what's going on for them. One of my clients is a grief counsellor. She has to adapt to whatever's going on for people. Some people are angry. Some people are bawling their eyes out. Some people are hysterically laughing, because that's the way that they deal with things. Learn to adjust. Understand how your people, like your client, wants and needs that information. Yes. So I call it mirroring and matching. So if they're speaking quickly, pick up your pace. If they're slowing down, slow down a bit. If they're asking about figures and facts and things like that, talk about the features of your products in a figures and facts type mentality. Yeah. Perfect. You've got another call starting. All good. You're welcome. Go on action. Enjoy. Okay, so maybe COVID has shown up those areas that you can improve on. Maybe it showed you that you need to find other ways that you can connect. That's okay. Look at a way that there's a streamlined framework that incorporates connection in there. So for me, if it's someone's birthday, if it's one of my clients' birthday or someone that I've spoken to's birthday, a card goes out in the mail. And that's not something that I need to remember every single person's birthday that I've ever spoken to. It's already in the framework. It's already in the system. I just need to get to the post office and write on the card and get it all done. But I don't need to remember that. It takes the mental load off. It creates the wow factor. It creates the connection. That's the way the best way to do business. Do you have a customer journey path that steps people through each stage of inquiry? So if someone reaches out to you by Facebook, if someone sends you a message, if someone sends you a text, what is each stage to go from inquiry or connection to a paying client? Or are you winging it? And if you are winging it, a lot of the time COVID will show that up and say, winging it's not really working. So are there follow-up strategies that you can use? Do you need to go from a hunter, find more leads, or a farmer, nurture those leads? We'll go through that in a sec. But what does that look like for you? How can you add more connection into your business? And not just a connection of this is the way I want to be spoken to. How does selling need it to be delivered? Okay, so as I said, we want to go through connection. We want to make sure that it's through our whole business. We want to have that connection through every step of it. It's not just connecting with your customers once they buy. I know for me, I had someone come and approach me about a marketing opportunity, and it's not like there's no, I don't even know why I did that. Very high price point. So she was into the, I think she was about 20 to 25 grand. Good question. So we're over halfway. We've probably got maybe another 20 minutes, half an hour. And then any questions if anyone wants to ask any. So all good, Rebecca, do what you need to do. You can always message me and reach out if you've got questions as well afterwards. But I understand that obviously people have got stuff to do too. So what I was saying is connection through every step of your business. So how do we actually go through, it will say that he'll be emailing. Yep, he'll email the recording and slides and stuff like that. So how do we actually get that connection going through our customer journey path so that it's easy, so we don't have to necessarily continuously think about it? How does that client flow? How do we have that conversation that goes from inquiry onto a call? How do we get people onto that call? What does that look like for your business? Is it client focused, and how do we show the potential client the way that we can help? I know sometimes when I've been on calls with people, we start talking about me, which is great. Like this is when they're trying to sell to me, may I add, that if they're trying to sell to me, we start talking about me and what my challenges are, and then they all of a sudden flip it into, so let me tell you about what I do. Here's a little news flash. No one cares, no one really is interested in what you do until they know how you can help them. What's in it for them? That is the biggest thing that you need to remember when it comes to business. What is in it for them? It's not about you. So do you have that customer journey path in your business? If you do, how can you polish it? How can you clean it? How can you tidy it? How can you add more connection? How can you create wow factors? What do you need to do to create more connection in that space? What do you do if someone doesn't come on board with you straight away? So as I was saying, this lady that was trying to sell me 20 grand as a marketing strategy, and 20 grand for me is something I need to go away and think about. It's not necessarily no just based on the 20,000. It's a, let me have time to process it. And once I didn't say yes to her straight away on the call, her follow-up strategy was very interesting. The way that she dealt with me from not coming on board straight away gave me a whole heap of realization that she's not the sort of person that I would want to invest 20 grand with. So what does that look like in your business? What sort of experience are the leads that are coming into your business having? Even if they don't buy first go. There's a whole heap of statistics and all that sort of stuff. There's only probably 3% of people that are ready to buy your stuff when you first present it to them. 3%. If you don't follow those people up, or if you just dismiss them and say they're not ready to do the work or they're not my ideal client, what needs to happen for them to keep moving with you and you getting them to take steps closer to you? What's the follow-up strategy? Is it customer focused, or are you chasing? And if you are chasing, are you still wanting to chase? Or are you maybe looking for a more stable way to do business? So when we talk about ways of business, as I said, I see this, look, this is very big picture, but I see that there's two real big determiners when it comes to sales and lead generation stuff within a business. There's the hunters, and I call them like people like Vodafone, right? They're always after that next new client. Yet the promotions or the offers and things like that are to new clients only. So if you've already signed up with this, sucked in, sucker, you don't get any of the good stuff. That doesn't feel good. That makes me want to leave your business. That makes me want to pull whatever money I was paying you out. So understand, are you currently in the hunter phase? And if you are, can we change it? If you have leads, do we want to keep looking for more leads, or do we want to kind of clean up and touch base with the ones that we do? Maybe their needs and wants have changed over time. Maybe they've changed over COVID, whatever that looks like. Find ways that we can either decide whether they are still our target market or our ideal client. And if they're not, let's let them go. It's okay not to be in their email. People will unsubscribe anyway, but just look at how you can, make your content and your connection a lot more feasible for those people. The other way that I look at business is being a farmer. And so this model isn't new. I didn't make it up. I didn't come up with the words hunter farmer. It's been going around for a long time. Someone like Alan Dibb, he does the one-page marketing plan. He talks a lot about it as well. But for me, it makes 100% sense, right? So I want to look after the people that have reached out to me. I already understand, or I've had that conversation with them, or they have opted into something that has made them realize that maybe Marie's a good fit for me to work with. I need to keep loving them. I'm not just going to take them on one date and say, oh, well, if you're not going to marry me, see you later. It doesn't work like that. I need to keep dating you. I need to find out, like, what else do you need from me? What will it take for you to move forward? What are you missing? What is the next step for you? What does that look like? And so before you go spending time and money, things like Facebook ads, there's heaps of people who are doing Facebook ads at the moment. One of my clients is a Facebook ad specialist. She's amazing. Her and I work really well together because she has people that are so determined on setting up Facebook ads to get more leads. But when she ends up with 100 leads coming into a business, she doesn't have the customer journey path and that sales process to turn those leads into dollars. So be careful before you go out spending a whole heap of time and money and energy on lead generation or finding more potential clients until you've had a look at your database. Your database is the biggest asset of your business. If you are growing a Facebook page or a Facebook group, you do not own that asset. Sorry, Facebook do. If Facebook decide one day that they want to start charging people $100 a month to stay on Facebook, you have no control over that. Your potential clients will jump off Facebook, potentially, and you then have no connection with them. So my suggestion is move them from Facebook into your database, which is your asset, your CRM, and that is where we actually nurture them. That is what will sell your business if you decide to move it on in the future. Not many businesses sell well if they don't have the database and the stats and numbers and all that sort of stuff to prove it. Oh, but I've got a Facebook page this big. Oh, well, what's on your books? What can I actually control? So if you don't have one, start there. If you do have people in a big group or a page and they follow you, see how you can get them from Facebook into database. Find ways to continuously look after people on your list in a way that they need. And if you learn how to sell, you don't have to keep hunting for new leads. Maybe you only need 10 great qualified leads, end up with 8 new clients. Have a think about it. So, how do people actually buy? Why do they buy? And how can you sell during this pandemic? Find solutions to the challenges people are having. People, if you're in the fitness industry or the nutrition industry, people still have that need. Maybe they can't come into your gym. Maybe you need to do some online stuff. Maybe you need to send videos. Maybe you need to create playlists on Spotify that they can do workouts to. Whatever that is, find out what their challenge is and find out how you can help them solve it or increase the experience that they have when they are overcoming that challenge. For example, if it's fitness, Spotify, perfect. Put together that high energy, playlist, and then maybe 5-10 minutes chill songs while they're stretching, whatever that looks like for you. But people buy solutions. They don't buy a product or service. They're buying a solution. They're either maybe buying happiness, they're buying solving a problem, they're buying something for a solution, right? So when people do buy, we've got two sides of the brain. We've got the logic and the emotional side. The logic is where people justify things. So the maths, the numbers, the figures, the facts, all that sort of stuff happens in the logic, and that's how we justify what we're about to purchase. But we make that decision emotionally. Is it going to make me feel good? Is it going to solve that problem? What's life going to be like afterwards? If I buy this brand new car, how amazing is it going to be driving down the street with the roof down and the hair glowing, and we can't really go anywhere at the moment, or we're not supposed to? Like, what is that experience that they're looking for, and how can we create the emotional connection to it? Weight loss, perfect example. What dress are you going to wear? How good are you going to feel when you strut it down into, you know, your 21st or your 50th or your 60th or whatever that looks like? What happens in our brains when we're making buying decisions is that our brain is trained to keep us safe. It's however many thousand billions years old. We have to work out how our brain works and understand how we need to deliver that information to people when we are helping them make a decision to move forward with us. Okay, so if we're looking at the emotional and the logical side of things, if you are too emotional, and people buy when they're highly emotional, things like, I've seen it multiple times when people go to like personal development success type stuff, all the rah-rahness, they always sell when they're in heightened emotion. Then they get home and they've thought about it, processed it, and the logic hasn't been able to justify it. So what's happened is that they're so emotional that the logic hasn't kicked in, and so buyer's remorse kicks in, and you'll have refunds. You'll have people asking for money back. You'll have PayPal stuff kicking in. So make sure that you balance both sides out, but we want to make sure that people are emotionally connected to whatever that solution is. And if you're working for business to business, there's still that human behind it. They still have the emotions. If we go too much on the logic side, it does help our brain to understand it, but if it's too logic, people will struggle to make that decision. They can't see what's in it for them. They need to be able to emotionally connect with that. So stay focused. This whole pandemic, COVID, strange kind of time won't last forever. Will things go back to normal? I don't know. I don't have a magic crystal ball. Even if I did, I don't even know if it'd be accurate anyway. But you have a choice as to what actions you can take and what you stay focused on. So stay front of mind. Create that content that people are looking for. Create resources, create tools, create courses, create things that will help people stay connected to you and your business. Check in, reach out. We spoke about, calling clients, check in on your database. Maybe you choose 5 people to email personally once a day or once a week or whatever is feasible within your business. But figure out how you can check in with those people. How are they going? What are their challenges? How are they feeling? Are they the person eating Cheezels on the couch? What Netflix sort of stuff have they watched? I watched the Bill Gates documentary on Netflix, and wow, what an insight that was. Absolutely amazing. That opened up doors for me to be able to talk to people about, how he does things and how his brain works and things like that. So check in, understand what's going on for those people. Be ready. Have all your systems, your processes, all your documents, everything ready to go live when we can open again, or if you can open again, or whatever that normal looks like. Set it up now while you have the time and the mental space to dig in. And get creative. Sometimes we need to kind of get outside that box to make that impact. The Mexican restaurant with the hats, or the sauce, or the music, or the videos, whatever that is at the moment, figure out ways to get creative to keep re-engaging those people. Get some visibility type strategies happening. Find out what you need to do to stay connected in that space. And here's how we look at monetizing it. So the only way you'll ever really sell in business is if you are solving a problem. So see a problem and solve it for someone. That will equal cash in your bank. One of the hardest things to do is to sell something to someone that they don't think that they need. It's really, really hard. So have a customer journey path. Have that sales framework that optimizes every single lead that comes through your business. If leads have slowed down, more reason for you to optimize and to make sure that your sales process is absolutely polished and connected and engaging and natural, and it's coming from an open and honest and raw space. then you'll be fine. So keep serving and keep connected. I feel like I've said that 50 billion times in this hour and a half that we've been together, but it's so important. Connect, stay connected. Even if you're having a bad day, jump on and say, I'm having one of those days where nothing's working, or I just went up to the shops and everyone's in masks and 2 meters apart and it's thrown me a little bit. That's okay. Your ideal client may be experiencing something like that, or have had one of those days previously. So find ways to connect in that space. Pivot. How can you serve your current clients differently? If you need to pivot, how do you pivot and find those new ideal clients, find out what their problems are? But the biggest thing is we want to look at it from a serving point of view. Find the problem, find the solution. Find the problem, find the solution. The solution you may need to create, it may be a product or a service or something specific for your business, but whatever that problem is, figure it out, solve it, sell it, done. Lean and clean, reduce costs and tidy up systems and documents. It will be a huge game changer. Although it sounds small, it may be overwhelming for some people. I know for me, it was a bit of a, too much stuff going on. I actually brought someone in to help me do it because my brain just doesn't work that way. I think more big picture rather than, finer details. So if you need someone to help you do it, find someone, but make sure that you look at ways to reduce costs. I know one lady, she offers a service that you pay her, I think it's a couple of $100, and she will go through all the bills that you pay. And if she can't find a cheaper alternative and a better option for you, you get your money back. So if you don't make that money back within a year, you don't pay her anything. That is amazing. Like, it's paying someone to shop around for you. And then the fourth thing, and for me, it's one of the biggest things that drives businesses, is processes. Sales processes, lead generation. Don't think that you need a whole heap of lead generation if you haven't got your sales process sorted. Learn how to sell, learn how to have those conversations, learn how to take someone from commenting on your post to jumping on a call to converting that call, what that conversation looks like. And it's not just about having the right words, it's about that framework and how that framework sits around you and your business. Have you ever been on the phone to Telstra and you're trying to get something sorted out and the person's not in Australia and you can tell that they're reading from a script? Oh, does my head in. So it's not about giving you the script. It's like, what do we need to do? What kind of structure or what steps and elements do you need that you can kind of tweak and make specific for your business and your ideal client when you sell? So that's pretty much all from me today. What I was talking to Will about is, if what I don't want to do is show you ways that you may need help in regards to your business and sales and lead generation without helping you, right? So as I said before, I have come up with a way that I can help small businesses that may be struggling from a cash flow perspective to understand what they need to do to sell. And I'm not a huge pushy salesperson. I know sometimes when people get on the phone to me, we're having this conversation and they say, Marie, where's your pitch? I don't want to be pitching to you. I don't want to feel like I have to sell to you. I want to be able to have a conversation with you and know whether I can help you, whether we connect, if I want to work with you, what it looks like, what do you need, what do you want, does that fit in with me? Like, what is that relationship going to look like? So I came up with ABCs of selling. It's not something that I planned to launch. I wasn't like, okay, 2020, what are we going to do? This is something that I know will help small businesses because I do it with my VIP clients. It's taken clients from 40 grand a year up to 250, up into the millions. So it's just about getting those foundations and what you need to understand on how to sell. So we go through, there's 4 modules, it's short, it's sharp, there's no fluff, it's just, this is what we need to do, this is how we do it. And then we also have 4 group calls like this where we go through and we actually jump on and talk. So it's not just chat box, it's like, okay, cool, jump on, tell me what's going on for you, Marie, this doesn't work, or I tried this and that didn't work, what can I do differently, how can I say this, what sort of prices and packages do I need to do, what does that look like? So we go through understanding how people sell or understanding like who Sally is, and we dig in a lot deeper to that. And then we look at what is that customer journey path look like? how do we get inquiries to move through our business, and what steps do we need? So that if you choose to bring someone on, great. If you want to just find a way to make more sales and make it really easy, that's where we're looking at, your customer journey path. Then we go through module 3, sales conversations, how we have them, what elements, what the transition looks like, how we talk about our products and services. Is our product and service right for Sally? And why we've kind of come up with that. Some people, do a discovery session. Some people do a 3 package type thing. Why three? I don't know. Someone told them that 3 was good, but then you've got to resell them for another 3 because they really need this much help. Like, we need to make sure that all of that is polished so that when Sally does come to us, we know what that solution is and we know that it's perfect for Sally. And so we go through that conversation and how we work through that, but then we also go through the follow-up without the ill factor. Like, what are the strategies on following up in a connected way so that people respond instead of ignoring us, so that we don't have 900 people on our email list that aren't ready to buy from us or that aren't our ideal target market. So that's kind of what I've come up with. If you're interested, let me know. There's a link on there. It's just mariekirkpatrick.com/ABCs. Really easy. It's only $2.97, cheap as chips. It's the cheapest way to work with me. And I'm all about giving you as much value in that process as you can. So that's all from me. Last slide says, thanks. Hit me with your questions.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much, Marie. Now, if anybody has any questions, please, if you can post them now. Marie covered a lot there, and I think what I got out of that was, really the key is to understand what you're resolving or what you're fixing for your clients, what their needs are. So I guess that's the key takeaway, to think about your client and what they actually need, not necessarily what you need or what your business needs. It's what they need. And if you can sort that, then you're gonna be serving your clients well. So if anybody has any questions, please let us know now, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to put those in the Q&A box. If not, we can call it a day. I'm recording this session, so we'll be putting this up onto the website probably by Friday. I'll have to do a bit of editing just to take out the beginning. So if anybody has any questions, please post them now. I'll send the slides around to everybody, and I will also share the video. So if nobody has any questions.
You can ask specific questions. I'm happy to go through whatever. Okay,
so we have a question come in.
Good question. Paul, yes. We start next Monday. So as I said before about some people needing things all at once, some people need things drip fed. Modules go live on the 18th of May, everything into the portal. And then our first live call is on that Thursday. So we go through anything that you need to in that time. If you watch one module, we go through that, whatever that looks like for you. Start Monday.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, people are slowly leaving the room now. So
perfect.
Just
thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Marie. And yes, thank you everyone for coming. Just to let you know, we have a session next week about referrals, about the importance of referrals and how you can use your existing networks to improve your business. I'll send some information around that later on today. So please look forward to seeing you at the next session or future sessions. I'll stay in touch, and thank you again, Marie.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.